Hello guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Faith. If you're new to this channel, welcome. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much. Thank you for staying with me. So today I'm going to be showing you how I made this beautiful blouse, and you can see that it's a wrap blouse. So if this looks like something you'll be interested in, kindly watch, comment, and like. So let's get straight to the tutorial now. Okay, so for this blouse, we're going to be drafting a full basic block. I think this should be like the third time I'm drafting a full basic block on this channel, but I want to also do it and I want to make it detailed. Okay, so my box here is divided into two, and I have it to be the width to be 23 inches. Now this 23 inches was because I divided my hip by 2, then I added like 2.5. Now the length I have is 25 inches. So that's like the length of my blouse. Now how I arrived at this 25 inches, 23 inches, sorry. My hip is 41, so I divided 41 by 2 and I had 20.5, so I decided to add 2.5. So that's how I came about that 23, and then the length I have is 25. Okay, so now I'll continue to rule some horizontal lines. Now the first line we're going to be ruling will be our chest line, and to arrive at our chest line, which I'm marking as 8.5, what I did was divide my bust by 6, then I added 1.5, and that gave me 7.5 approximately. Then I added an extra 1 inch for my back shoulder slope. That was how I came about the 8.5, which I'm ruling now. Okay, now so I'll label that as my chest line. Now the next line is going to be my shoulder to my bust point line, and that you just have to measure from your shoulder to your bust apex, and I have that to be 10.5. But if you're not able to measure that from your chest line, you can just go down by 1.5 inches. Okay, now the next line is going to be my shoulder to on the bust, and I have that to be 14 inches. Okay, my bust point line, my under bust. Now for the back, the next line is going to be my shoulder to my waistline, and my shoulder to my waistline is 15 inches. So that's my back half length. Now I'll proceed to rule the front half length, which is going to be 17. Now the rest line I have is a full length of my blouse. Okay, so now there's a difference in our half length, which is 2 inches. The front half length was 17 and the back was 15. So we have to take out that excess of 2 inches. So all you just need to do is come to the hem there and deduct 2 inches from your back length. It's not going to affect it in any way. Okay. So to continue in the drafting proper, the next thing will be to bring down my shoulder measurement. The shoulder I'm working with is 16, so 16 divided by 2 will give me 8. Now my shoulder slope for front is 1.5, which is what I just did now. Now for this neckline, I want to use 3.5. Since it's a wrap dress, you can decide to use 3 by 3. It's okay and it will still work well, but I decided to use 3.5. Now I've connected my shoulder slope back to my neckline. Now I'll repeat the same process for the front, for the back rather. My shoulder is 8, shoulder slope for back is 1. Now my neck width for back will be 3.5, but for the neck depth I'm going to be using 1 inch. Okay, now I've connected the shoulder to the neck. Now I want to finish up the armhole. So all I need to do is to bring down my shoulder measurement on the chest line. Now I'll connect that line back to the shoulder slope. For the front, I'm just going to go up by 3 inches. Then I'll come in by 0.75 there. I'll connect it like so. Then to finish up the armhole curve, I'll bring down my bust circumference divide by 4, and then I'll connect the 2 points like so. Now I'll repeat the same process for the back also, only that because the back is going to have back tightening there, I added 0.5 to create an allowance so that my back measurement will not be short. Now I divided my armhole line into 2, and then I went in by 0.5, connected it back to the shoulder slope, and then on the chest line I brought my bust circumference divided by 4, and then I added 0.5 to it also, it's just for ease. Okay, so this is my armhole curve. Now the next thing will be for me to create my dart. Now my nipple to nipple point is 6, so I'm going to take that measurement on the full length of on the hem of the blouse, on my half length, on my under bust and my bust line. I'll connect all these points with a ruler now. Okay, and then I'm going to open up my dart by 0.75 on both sides. Now the length of your dart for a full basic block is 22 inches, and that's what I just measured now. So I will create my dart legs and connect it down to the length of the dart. I'll repeat the same process also for the back. I'll mark my 3 inches on the new blouse length for the back, on the waistline and on the chest line. I'll connect these 3 points and open up my dart by 0.75 just like I did for the front, and create my dart legs. The length of the dart for the back is also 22 inches. Now on the chest line, I decided to come down by 1 inch there. Okay. Now the next thing will be for us to impute our waist circumference. Waist circumference divided by 4, and then we're going to be adding back our dart intake, which is extra 1.5. Okay, and then I'll connect that point to my bust line, to the point I have on my chest line. Now the next thing will be for me to impute the hip circumference, divide by 4, and I had that to be 10.125. So I'll just connect all those points like that. I'll repeat the same process for the back, just that before that I have to tighten my back. Okay, and then from that point I'm going to impute my waist circumference, divide by 4, then plus 1.5 for my dart intake. Same way I'm going to bring down my hip circumference, divide by 4, and then I'll connect it to the waistline. Okay, so this is the full basic block. All we're going to be doing next is alteration. So we're going to see how to alter this pattern to a wrap dress. Now on the waistline we're going to be tightening our underbust. So my underbust is 29. So you divide your underbust circumference by 4, impute whatever you have, then you measure the excess that you have, and then you divide it into 2 and then spread it on both sides of the underbust line there, which is what I did. Okay, now your points there, you're going to connect them back to the waistline like so. Okay, so at this point we have tightened the underbust. The next thing now will be for us to achieve our classic princess seam line. So all I did was to measure the shoulder and divide it into 2, and then I connected it back straight to the bust apex there. Can you see what we have? Okay, so on the side seam there, I decided to go up by 1 inch to give it a shape there. Okay, and I repeated the same thing for the back also. Okay, so can you see? Now at this point I remembered I have not imputed the bust dart, which is the difference between the front waistline and the back waistline, and I had that to be 2 inches, so I just did that now. Okay, so now I'll cut out this pattern. Now all I want to do is to remove the back and work with the front first. We don't really have much to do with the back again, so I'll just cut it out now like so, and I'll set it aside for now. When we are done with the front, then we can come back to the back. Okay, okay guys, So, like I told you, this is a wrap blouse. Okay, so to alter this on the waistline, we're going to be, I want to extend that line out, and to be sure I have a straight line, so I'll measure my 17 inches again, which is my actual waistline, the length of my waistline. Okay, so now on that waistline, I'm going to come out by 5 inches. Okay, and then from the top there, I'll connect that line straight to my neckline. Can you see? Now that point there, from that tip there, I'll connect it to my the hem of the blouse there, the side seam of the blouse. I decided to use a free hand so I can achieve some, I can curve it the way I want. I noticed the ruler might not be able to give me what I want, so I decided to make use of my free hand. Okay, so for this blouse, if you wish the side of the blouse that is straight, you can decide to use your pattern like this as a whole. But for me, I'm going to be cutting it on the waistline. I think it's easier to achieve that way, because if you're using this side as a whole, then that means you have to trace out the half length for the other side of the blouse that has flare. You have to trace that out, or probably when you're done cutting the straight one, then you can cut out the this the other side, that's the side I'm folding now, and then use the half length to cut for the other side of the blouse. But that's not what I'm going to be doing. So you can see that I cut it out at the waistline, and then I'll just trim this. So this is the peplon now. Okay, let me call it that, the peplon part of this side of the blouse. The other side, I'm going to be cutting flare for it. So this one I'll be cutting one piece, but for the top, that's the bodice now, I'm still going to be cutting two pieces each. Okay, so for the neckline there, I want to tighten it. You know, when you have a deep neckline like this, or something long like this, they tend to gape. So what you need to do is create a dart, just a little dart on the neckline there, so as to tighten the neckline to avoid gaping. So I'll come back to that when I want to close the neckline. So let me continue cutting. Now I'm just closing up the bust dart here. And then I'm going to blend in the side seam there. Okay. Okay, so this is my SF, which is the side front. Alright. So now I want to close up that that I created on the neckline. So you can see the way I closed it, but I didn't allow it to extend into my bust apex there. Okay. Now the front, there is a little difference there. So all you just have to do is to align them, blend it in like so. And then we just cut out. Okay, so you can see that our front pattern is ready for one side. Okay, so I will set this aside now and alter the back. So for the back, we're going to be cutting one piece. That's for the straight blouse side. Okay, and if you like, also you can create your classic princess seam also. But for me, I won't be doing that because it's not really necessary. So I won't be using that. Now I'll go ahead also and close the dot. Okay. Okay. Make sure you close your waist dart also, unless you intend to sew down the dart. Otherwise, please close it up. Okay, so this is the back. Can you see? And then this is my front. All right. Okay, so we'll proceed to transferring to fabric. Okay. Okay, guys. So I remembered we need to calculate for flare, and for that I'm going to bring the other side of the peplum. Okay, so the waistline measurement, waist circumference you're working with is with 30. So if we have this to be the one side of the peplum, which is 30 divided by 2. Now we are going to have this to be 15 without adding the wrap in front. So that's going to be waist circumference of 30 minus 15. So that will give us 15 inches left. So which means the other side where we're going to be imputing the flare is going to be 15 inches. Now this side also is divided into two because we have one side for the front and one side for the back, and that is why I divided 15 by 2 to give me 7.5. So the next thing we have to do is to calculate the front flare. So now for the front flare we have 7.5. Now I added that 5 inches because of the wrap we have in front, which was 5 inches, and that gave me 12.5. So remember we'll still be joining the side seam, so I added 1 inch for allowance, and that made it to be 13.5. Now we're going to be cutting a 720-degree flare. So the next thing will be for us to calculate the radius. So for my front, I did 13.5 divided by 6.28, and that gave me 2.14, which I approximated as 2.15. So that will be my radius for the front. Now the length of the peplon is going to be 7 inches. So that's 7.7 plus 2.15, which gave me 9.15, which is going to be the flare length for the front. Now for the back, we'll repeat the same calculation. So for the back we have 7.5, but there is no wrap at the back, so we're not definitely not going to be adding the 5 inches we added. All we need to add was 1 inch allowance for the center back, because we're going to be joining the center back together. So I added 1 inch for that. Okay, and then also for the side seam we need to join there also. So I made everything 2 inches, and that gave me 9.5. So the next thing will be for us to calculate the radius for the back flare, and that was 9.5 divided by 6.28, and that gave me 1.5. Next will be for me to calculate the length of flare for the back. Now remember we have the length to be 7 inches. So all I just need to do was 7 plus 1.5, and that gave me 8.5. So these are just the calculation we need for the other side the the blouse, which had flare. Okay, so the next thing now will be for us to transfer to fabric. Okay. Okay guys, so these are the materials I'll be working with. I have this Ankara fabric here. I already made skirt out of it. Okay, and then I have my lace. It's a chantilly lace, and then I have lining. Alright, this is our pattern, which we already cut out. Okay, this is the center front. At this point I thought I was working with the skirt, so that was why I wrote that RSU there, but I later realized that no, this is not what I wanted. So I picked the peplum side, which is the straight side, and I wrote RSU. RSU means right side up, because we're going to be cutting one piece each, because we are not going to be placing the fabric on fold. You have to indicate that, so that when you're cutting you remember that the right side of your fabric has to be up, so you don't cut it the wrong way and then you'll have to cut all over again. Okay guys, so this is my front pattern, and I've added all the seam allowance. For that center front it was half inch all round, but for the side front, which I'm cutting now, it was half an inch round. Then on the side seam I added 2 inches there. Okay, For this, my fabric is on fold because we're cutting for both sides of the blouse. So my fabric is on fold, remember that. Okay, so this is it. I'll proceed to cut the back now. Okay, this is the back, and my fabric is also on fold. Alright, so I added 1 inch on the center back, then 2 inches on the side, and half an inch around the other places. Okay, so now that we have all this, the next thing is to cut this side of the peplon. I'll keep referring to it as peplon so that you can understand. Now the right side of the fabric is facing me. The wrong side is on the table. That's because I want to cut it right side up. Okay. So I've placed them and I've added all the seam allowance. Now I added half an inch all around, but on the hem there I added 1 inch. That's for hemming allowance. For the back I added 1 inch on the center back. I added 2 inches on the side, yes, and then that's all. Okay, so this is the two. Now the next thing will be for me to cut the flare. And remember we have our calculations for the flare, but when we did the calculation we didn't add hemming allowance. Okay, so I'll add my hemming allowance 1 inch, and then the front is going to be 10.15. So because we're cutting a full circle flare for the front, I already have my fabric on fold here, which is one fold. Now when you place this fold, you make sure that you have up to 10.15, and then you fold for the second time like so. Okay, so that's how you fold for a full flare. Now from the tip there, I'm going to start imputing my measurement. Which is 10.15. So I'll measure 10.15 round. Okay. Okay, so now that I have this, the next thing is going to come with the radius, which is 2.15, and from the tip there also I'll measure 2.15 around. Okay, so I'll just cut out now. Okay, so this is the front flare. Now we're going to be cutting out the back same way. So for the back, remember we have our flare length to be 8.5. So I'll add hemming allowance of 1 inch and I'll have 9.5. Okay, so I have my fabric on fold here already. One fold. Make sure you have enough to give you the 9.5 that you need. And then you fold for the second time. Okay, so we're just going to be repeating the same process. We'll come with the length of the flare, which is 9.5. So from the tip there, you measure your 9.5 all around the fabric. Next will be to repeat the same process for the radius, and we have our radius to be 1.5 for the back. Now we'll just cut out. Okay, so this is the flare for the back. Now I'll go ahead and cut out the sleeve. Now this, I'm going to be working with just a straight sleeve, and the length of the sleeve is 24 inches. Okay, now the next thing will be for me to come with the cap height, and I have my cap height to be 4 inches. To arrive at your accurate cap height, divide your bust circumference by 12, then you add 1 inch to it. Okay, now my shoulder to elbow is 14. And then I have the length of the sleeve. Now on my cap height line, I'll come with my armhole measurement, which is my bust divided by 6 plus 1.5, and that will give me 7.5 approximately. I decided to add 2 inches for allowance, and I connected that point straight to the tip there. Now I'm going to measure what I have on that line, divide it by 2 to have that mark there, and then I'll just create a freehand curve like so. Can you see? Now on the elbow, my round elbow is 12. 12 divided by 2 will give me 6, and then I added ease, okay, to have that measurement there. Okay, now on the length of the sleeve, my round wrist is 8, that will give me 4. 4 plus 2 will give me 6. So I'll just connect all these points now, and my sleeve is ready. So I'll just cut out now. And after this, I have all my fabric ready. All that we need now is joining. So I will use this all that we've cut now, the main fabric, to cut on the lining, and in the next video we'll be sewing, because this video is already long already. So the sewing part is going to be in another video. So this is all our pieces. Thank you for staying tuned.